Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome into another episode of the GC Show. I hope y'all are doing absolutely amazing here on this Monday afternoon. Or should I say, we hope y'all are doing absolutely amazing here on this Monday afternoon. Welcome into the first ever guest episode on the GC Show. Welcome in, Louie.
What's up, y'all?
And of course, first guest episode, I've been thinking about it for a while, and we're finally getting around to doing the first guest episode, and I was thinking, who do we bring on to the first guest episode? And I was like, you know what? I have to do it with Louie. Built-in best friend, brother. Like, who else would I do this first episode with? And we're talking about Brotherhood today, and this kind of works out perfectly. We got Brother Louie on the show. And Brotherhood is something that is necessary for every Christian to have. Now, the term brotherhood, you could say, Christian friends are super important to have, but brotherhood, the reason why the term brotherhood is used is because it refers to how strong the bond between two Christians is.
Yeah, and just because it's brotherhood doesn't mean it's just for guys. Like, in the Bible, you hear multiple times where it talks about men, but it's not referring just to men, it's referring to everyone. So right here, brotherhood, it's not referring just to men, it applies to all Christians with bond with other Christians.
And you could have, two bonds between girls, for example, of course, like that sisterhood bond. The reason it's just referring to brotherhood is because it's two guys, but you can have those sisterhood bonds too, which is between two girls.
Yeah. So our verse today is Proverbs 17:17. It states, "A friend loves at all times, and a brother is born for a time of adversity."
So, we talk about Proverbs 17:17 here. And in the context of the verse, it's talking about brother more as like a really good friend. But the brother in the sense here could have multiple meanings. Of course, we have Louie here, really close friend and brother. So he kind of takes the role of multiple meanings here, or of both of the multiple meanings here. But, the term like brother doesn't just have to be someone that's like a biological brother, because I know not everyone is born. Every guy is not born with a biological brother, but it refers to those really close, deep friendships and those people that you can go to in times of need that will be there for you.
Yeah, and that leads us right into our next point. It's in Mark 2, in case you guys want to see it, but it is the four corners where Jesus is teaching in a building, and they cut a hole in the roof and lower their paralyzed friend to get him help. And this is the type of friends or brothers that we need in our lives. It's people that we can have those deep conversations with, and not just, oh, hey, what's up? Like, you have to have friends that you can be brutally honest with, and that they won't judge, that they will absolutely do what's best for you. And that's really what you need for a true brother. And so that also, if you change the perspective and you are the brother, you have responsibilities. While you are a friend to them and you have fun with them, you do have some responsibilities, and that includes, like, you stand by them at all times, because in the Bible it says the battle is not against flesh and blood, but it's against the evil powers in this world. So you got to stand by your brothers. And Gavin here, he's my older brother, so he's a role model, and he really steps into that role very well. I have to say, he's a very good brother and a very good role model to model myself after. So he really he's done that point really well. But you just got to be a role model to your friends. That you just got to be different, so that they see something in you that they want to be like you. And you got to be a helping hand, just lifting them in their trials, and you got to hold them accountable as well when they mess up. That's where honesty comes in, and you don't judge, but you do have to keep them accountable for what they do.
And I think, a big thing with that too, like being a role model, is, you'll have those bonds with people that maybe aren't Christians. And especially with those people that aren't Christians, we need to be role models to them, especially because, like, we have the good news and we know that Christ is with us. We need to model that to them so that they may want to have that, same joy that you have in Christ. Yeah, the
Yeah.
next part. All right.
No, you
All
go.
right. So,
Sorry.
brothers, of course, will lead each other in the right direction. I hope I lead Louis in the right direction. I do some wacky stuff, and I'm interesting sometimes. I don't know. I'm not perfect. I mess up, I sin, and Louis, he guides me in the right direction too. Whenever I'm not doing the smartest things, he's like, "Bro, what are we doing?" And then he'll call me out for it, because we know that we can go to each other and we trust each other to like call each other out and lead us back in the right direction, and that is so important. And Jesus modeled this to his disciples.
Yeah, and we also, it's nice because we have a brotherhood bond that really can't be broken to our brothers. So we're really honest with each
It's
other.
like brothers and best friends at the
Yeah.
same time.
Yeah.
And Jesus, he modeled this, like leading brothers in the right direction. He modeled this through loving them, and even whenever they did stupid stuff and like turned against him, like Judas, for example, when Judas betrayed him, he still loved Judas. He still loved him, and he taught them the good news. And like in that same way that we need to teach each other whenever we find something out, teach each other so that we can build each other up, because this isn't like a battle. We're not fighting against each other, fighting together. That's the ultimate goal. And correcting each other, kind of went over that, and service, serving each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so a common misconception in our world today is I can do this by myself, and sometimes it refers to like religion, like without God, but sometimes it refers to friends, where people think I can do this by myself. I can walk this walk of life with Christ, just me and him, which you can, but it's much harder, and it's kind of a clear choice to have brothers that are there for you. I mean, like Jesus, when he went to the garden, he brought some of his disciples in there to pray with him. Like Jesus needed brotherhood. So if the one perfect example in the world of all time, the one perfect person did that, I think most definitely we should do that as well.
And I think to point out of that too, of course, like you need that super strong brotherhood. And Pastor Joby Martin in the Deepen podcast, he mentioned this as like, oh, that's such a great example. It's like, imagine like you're the quarterback, and the people that you surround yourself with, that brotherhood that you have, are like your linemen. Like if you're a quarterback but you don't have linemen, you're going to be scrambling and you're going to get sacked every play. But if you have those linemen to be with you and protect you and like guide you in a sense, yeah. Like if they're there to protect you, it's such a necessity. Because if, like, imagine you're in a football game, you're a quarterback without linemen. How are you ever going to survive? You're just going to get pummeled every time. So it's so important to have those brothers around you that are like those linemen. So I thought that was a great analogy there. And finding those Christian bonds help you and those around you point each other toward Christ. It's not just, oh, what was I going to shoot? I brain farted. But that's okay, because this show isn't perfect. But like Louis said, you can't do this on your own. You need those people to guide you back toward Christ, to point you toward Christ. Because, like Louis said, if the King of the universe needed those people around him, those people, to be there with him in times of need, if the King of the universe, Jesus Christ, needed that, then we most definitely need those brotherhood bonds.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily like think he like needed them necessarily, but I think he had them to show an example.
It's a model for us. Yeah, totally agree with that.
Yeah.
And
sorry,
no, that's all you.
You go ahead.
That's all you. All right, so we can't do this on our own. Of course, we can surround ourselves through Bible studies and disciple groups, and just those places that we can go to, those like comfort zone but also uncomfortable zone, because those are the people that will even through your flaws will help guide you and correct you. But those are the people that you trust, the people that you love.
Yeah, and A point I'm going to throw in here is those brothers, you also have to be very careful with who you choose. You need some good influences on you, because if you have a bad influence in those times of trial and you get a bad influence, it's just going to lead you in the wrong direction. So you really need a Christian, not necessarily a Christian brother, but just a good example for you to guide you.
Yeah, well, preferably a Christian brother, but if not, it's
Yeah.
someone that you can trust, someone that you can go to. And if it's not a Christian brother, then maybe guide them toward Christ. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, we have like a second verse here. It kind of goes along with this. It's Proverbs 27:17. And it says, as iron sharpens iron, so a friend sharpens a friend. And just like as we have talked about throughout this entire episode, those people that you have around you, will help guide you and help sharpen you in all your ways and the things you do. So it is so important to have those bonds.
Yeah.
And, if you don't have those bonds, if you don't have those people that you can go to, maybe you are doing life by yourself and you just, you don't have those people to go to. I would be willing to walk with you through that, be willing to walk with you in your faith journey. I know Louis most definitely would be willing to as well. And if you don't have those people, feel free to reach out. And, Joby likes to say all the time is that, we need to have those four corners in our life. Those four corners, going back to the Matt example. We need to have those four corners in our lives. If you don't have those four corners, you can reach out to either of us. We'd be willing to walk with you through that. Or really just reach out to someone that you feel like you trust. And I guarantee they'd be willing to walk with you and be one of those four corners in your life.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, that is the lesson for today for the first ever guest episode. Talking about brotherhood, and it's perfect because we got Louis, biological brother, and best friend brother, four corners brother, every form of brother you could possibly have. So, of course, if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions about this episode, or really just anything in general that you want to tell us about, because I like listening. I don't know if you like listening. Louis probably likes listening too. And, just really anything you want to tell us, of course, tell us. And, of course, find those brothers in your life because it's so important. So, it's crazy. End of the first guest episode. We can say we checked that off the list now, and no better person that I could possibly do this first ever guest episode with. So, as always, like I say, I will let Louis do the honors of doing the old slogan at the end. But as always, thank you guys for listening. I will see you guys next week.
Be great to get. Oh my goodness! Be great today and praise God.
There we go.